Form kneadable silicone into a roll to fill the toe and edge area. Depending on the fit, fill the corners more or less generously and slightly press on the silicone. This takes about 5 minutes and then the silicone starts to solidify. The hoof boot should be put on before the silicone mass begins to harden, for example within about 5 minutes after mixing. The temperature for this work should not be below 10 degrees Celsius. Then move the horse around immediately while the silicone is still very soft, within the first 10 minutes since mixing the components. If possible, straight out on a paved level surface. Check whether the silicone is still soft or is already beginning to harden and become firmer. Walk with the horse for about half an hour. During this time, the silicone becomes firmer and firmer and can ideally adapt to the shape of the hoofs in the walk. After about half an hour, the silicone is so firm that the hoof boots can be easily removed. At low temperatures, it is better to wait a little longer. The silicone insert can only be fully loaded after a few hours, fully cured after approximately 12 hours. The kneadable silicone is self-releasing. It does not stick to the hoof or the hoof shoe. The result is an insert that can be removed and replaced as required. The silicone insert can now be used to assess whether the hoof boots fit or how large the deviations from the ideal fit are. These findings help in the hoof care. For example, adapting the shape of the hoof to the hoof shoe, or in the selection of a different hoof shoe size. If the deviations from the ideal fit are not too great, the silicone inlay can also be used to make the not perfectly fitting hoof boot fit. Due to the silicone inlay, the hoof shoe fits almost perfectly on the hoof. According to our own experience, hoof boots that has been twisted or got lost without silicone inlay can be made absolutely suitable in this way. Of course, this only works for hoof shoes that are a little bit too big, or where the angle of the hoof walls do not exactly fit the hoof shoe, or where the hoof shape is slightly irregular. The deviations must not be too great, because an unsuitable hoof shoe makes the correct stepping difficult or even impossible for the horse. This can lead to lameness or the horse can trip. The silicone insert can be removed or replaced as required. We do not recommend gluing the silicone inlay to the hoof shoe. However, if you want to do this, you need the special adhesive Elasticil E4, which is available from R&G.